Welcome back to the West Ham fans preview show, the Premier League countdown, where I talk about every team, all 20 teams, because of the 20 days to the Premier League season. Now, if you haven't checked out all the other teams that I've talked about in order, make sure to do that first, and make sure to like and subscribe while you're at it. This time we're talking about my team's bogey team, Brighton. I don't think we'll ever beat Brighton. I was actually at the last game where we beat Brighton. But yeah, we're going to talk about Brighton. How well will they do in the Premier League? They are also in the Europa League. Tony Bloom has transformed this club. They've gone a long way. They have sold so many great players, but managed to recruit even better. This window, they got a keeper called Verbugen. I don't know how to pronounce his name, so correct me in the comments if I haven't said that properly. Assuming that Robert Sanchez will be gone, Jason Steele as the backup, etc. Although Jason Steele performed so well, he probably doesn't even need to be dropped when he played. They also got De Hood from Dortmund on a free, and Milner on a free, and they've just got Igor, who's the Fiorentina centre-back that was at fault for the goal against West Ham for us to win the Conference League. So that is very petty from Igor to join Brighton, isn't it? Obviously, I'm joking, but that would be funny. Imagine if that was the reason he joined Brighton. That would be funny, but obviously it's not. Now, Brighton's manager, Robert De Zerbi, has absolutely triggered the shit out of Chelsea fans with him. Yes, it is disrespectful, but I don't care. It's towards Chelsea, so who cares? But him and he's triggered them a lot by talking about, I won't talk about players that are not at my club, and then talks about I want Cole and Caicedo to play together, and he says we are in the Europa League, unlike Chelsea, which is funny. Like, come on, a lot of Chelsea fans getting angry, like, sit back down, act like a small club. Why are you acting like this? Why are you acting like you're bigger than you are? Very arrogant from Big Six fans, but Brighton continue to do good business, and the big theme about Brighton is that as the season goes on, you always see someone that you don't know that performs from out of nowhere. 1 year is Sarmiento, next year's Enciso, next year's Caicedo. When he first arrived, I remember the first time I watched Caicedo was when they battered Man United at their ground at the Amex, not as in at their ground, as in at Brighton's ground. Caicedo and Bissouma actually played together. He was rumoured to go to Manchester United before he went to Brighton. And I think he was rumoured to go to Manchester United when he was at Brighton. Before he became this big player. And this was just before he was embedded into last season where he was a starter. He was obviously going to be the Bissouma replacement. But he played with Bissouma in a pivot, and he actually scored. I think that was his first Brighton goal as well. And they always manage to include stars like that. Now, the only Brighton player that I really didn't rate is Robert Sanchez. I know he's there for the distribution, but that guy's a horrible keeper. The guy flaps at any single moment. But Jason still came in for him. Done really well. I've always rated Lewis Dunk. I thought he should be in the England squad way before, like, the Maguires, the Mingses, etc. But obviously Gareth Southgate, we all know what he's like. To bounce back, to keep the same philosophy with your scouts, your performance analysis, your managers, your players, it's a hard thing to do, but Tony Bloom has done that. He has done what Southampton failed to do back in the day when they had so many good players and other teams that go for this kind of model. And it's a good model to have when you can keep up the quality, and they've sold so many good players and they've got better. So can they go into Europe again? Now, here's the thing. Brighton did so well to finish in the Europa League, and they had an amazing season. They deserved it. They counted on the teams that were meant to be in Europe and that didn't get there. And you can see it from what season? 21-22 season. Graham Potter was still there, and they were stepping it up. They were really, really stepping it up with the football when they battered Man United, etc., and other teams. And obviously, they beat us. They always beat us. They always outplay us. And I remember triggering a Brighton fan because he misconstrued everything that I said. He managed to get triggered when I did Brighton West Ham preview in that season. But we move. And you can see that the football was even getting better And then they started the season with Graham Potter. And Graham Potter's last game was against Leicester where they battered them. And then he left for Chelsea and that didn't work. But they got De Zerbi, a man who plays good football, has to play at the back just like Graham Potter, but the football was different. It's a different formation as well as a specific formation as well. Graham Potter never had a specific formation, but it was more three at the backish. De Zerbi's more of a 4-2-3-1 kind of, but it switches around just like Potter's. But they've actually got better with the manager, with the players. And I generally think that with the recruitment that they possess, they probably want more players. I know they were interested in Mohamed Kudus. I don't know whether they're still going to go in for him. They were interested in Calvin Bassey. Don't know whether they're still going to go in for him. Because I know Fulham are trying to get him. But I think they'll be trying to compete for Europe again. But if I was to make an early prediction, I reckon they'll definitely finish in the top 10. I don't know how far they'll go in Europa League. Europa League is getting even harder every year. But I don't think they'll finish in the European place. But I think they'll generally play a really, really good brand of football again. And I generally think they'll try and compete to get into a European place. I think they'll obviously finish above us. We're shit. But here's my thing. The only problem I would have with De Zerbi is that we saw a little worrying thing in the Everton game where if you come up against a team that can be as solid as Everton on the day and counter-attack. I know it's probably a freak result. It probably was just a one-off. But they got to defend counter-attacks better probably because they're going to try every team that plays Brighton that is a pragmatic team. They're going to go to that model that Sean Dyche did, that just strictly go to that shape and try and break with pace on the break. And it's a hard thing to do. It's a hard thing to do to break down a low block, but Brighton can do that. Now, the talents they possess is amazing. Even with Levi Colwill not playing, like I rate Adam Webster. I rate Estupinian was one of the best signings of last season. I wonder if Jakub Moder is going to come back because he was injured for the whole season, I think. So I wonder if he's going to come back. I don't know what's up with him, but you got Enciso. That man can hit a ball. And I wonder what's going to happen with the Caicedo thing. I generally have a feeling that Caicedo is not the guy to hand in a transfer request, like a lot of players that are wanted on the market. So I think he might stay. Or will Chelsea are the kind of team just to pay the money. They need a midfielder badly. They need a Caicedo profile. And there's not many like Caicedo out there. Then again, though, Caicedo has had one full season in the Premier League where he's been top. So, can he do it again? I reckon he can. But I just needed to put that out there. They've got Karim Mitoma, who was the Trossard replacement even when Trossard was there. But that man could cover ground, very good 1v1s. The only person he hasn't really ruined is Wan-Bissaka, because Wan-Bissaka's top defensively 1v1s. But he literally studied 1v1s in university or something like that. That man, because we talk about the university thing and the fact that he's just come onto the scene as a Premier League player and had his first full season, we talk about him like he's really young. He's 25, 26. So you'd hope that he'd up his end product because he can still strike a ball, he can curl a ball in. But you'd hope he can step it up. Solly March had a top season last season. Again, another man that could hit it from outside the box. And he's been there for quite a long time. I don't know whether he came through their academy, but he's been there a long time. He can play all kinds of positions as well. But he's been strictly played on the right wing foot, started off from hugging the touchline, then have the ability to cut in and shoot. And I think Potter played him as a bit part player, from what I remember. But De Zerbi has got the best out of Solly March, has great management from him. But I think he was beginning to confirm his place again. Brighton have also signed João Pedro from Watford, a very good player a good player so far, who can become a very good player. Now, are Brighton going to go two up front? Because they play with they've got four strikers now. they've got Danny Welbeck, João Pedro, Undav, and the one and only Evan Ferguson. Evan Ferguson, someone that everyone needs to watch out for this season as well. I reckon he's going to have a really good season. Sometimes they played two up front with Danny Welbeck and just playing behind Evan Ferguson. They literally went to two up front sometimes. I don't think that always worked in certain games, but they could play two up front because they have four strikers. But maybe that's because Undav's not really in the plans, or Danny Welbeck might be retiring. Maybe, I don't know, soon. He's quite old, from what I know, and he gets injured a lot. So let's see what happens there. But yeah, as I said, if I was going to make an early prediction, they're definitely going to finish in the top 10. But I'm not sure whether they're going to get a European place. But a European night at the Amex, you can tell that the crowd will get up for that. It's not the greatest stadium for on TV, but it'll be under the lights. That will hit different on your first European night, seeing that. And obviously, I know how that feels. Seeing West Ham in their first European night, it was mad. Then again, our first European night was against Astra Gugu. Well, the first one I saw, and I didn't. Let's not talk about that. But with Brighton, they'll be very interesting again to watch. They've been probably the best team to watch for 3 years, I'd say, under two different managers, and their model's really good. Their model's something that I would like my club to follow, and they can bring players through with someone like Evan Ferguson coming through. It proves that you can bring players through the academy. Although I think they bought him from Ireland, they can bring players through the academy. They can bring players that are good enough through. They can buy cheap players and make them into £50 million players. But that will be it for the video on Brighton. Make sure to like the video, subscribe if you're new. Social media's in the description if you want to follow me, and email for the inquiries. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Goodbye.